Hello everyone, this is GTT. Whoops, GTT. I just went to go over GTT stock here. This is a stock that's trading at for about $2 now from a high of 60 and looks extremely attractive. Going for 3%, right? Of its one, the high it went for at one point. And according to some articles, so here in Value Investors Club, written in January, written about I'm on here, written about 2 years ago. This and was going for $28. This author had a long thesis, so written here saying that it should go up, and it did. Okay, before crashing down. And more recently, let's take a look at more recent news. So as recently as December, so about 2 months ago, was this 3 months ago maybe? This author here was bullish about it, and most of the recent information has been bullish actually. So I said, okay, I'll take a look at it real quick, and I take a look at their income finance statements. And here's what I want to show you is when you look at finance statements, if you look at the revenue of, oops, this is quarterly. I want to take a look at the annual. So if you look at their revenue is going up. Okay, that looks good. That's great growth. Let's take a look at their net income. And there's your first warning sign that something's wrong, right? There's a net income that is negative. Okay, having said that, by itself, that's not enough. The net income could be negative if this is a fast growing company that is investing a lot so that later on they can make more money. It's just a growing company. It could be that. However, let's take a look how we can identify if this is an issue is if we take a look at the cash flow statement. Okay, so cash flow statement. We were looking at the income statement, now we're looking at the cash flow statement. And if we look at the cash flow statement, the net income line is up here. We can see what they're actually spending money on and what their actual financial situation. It provides clarity in terms of what their costs really are. What are they borrowing? So it's not just income for the year. So a way I like to look at it is income statement by itself here. This one, if you have a job, this sort of tells you how much you made gross. That's line number one. Then line number two tells you how much tax you paid. Line number three, how much you paid for insurance. Line number four, da da da. Finally, your net income. Okay, but we don't. It doesn't tell you how much money did you borrow, how much car payments you had, how much are you doing upgrades in your house. It doesn't really give you all that necessarily, but we can find that in the other sheets, the balance sheet, the cash flow statement. So let's get back to it. With the cash flow statement, right here, net income is the first line, and you can see that they have negative net income. Okay. And again, I said by itself, that's not bad. They could be investing. And in fact, that's exactly what's happening. Come take a look at this area here, okay, which is net cash used for investments. And you can see that they're acquiring a lot of things, okay? Acquisitions. They're acquiring other companies probably. And you can see right here, specifically in 2017 and 2018, they had two huge acquisitions, specifically in 2018, $2.2 billion acquisition. Between the 2 years, $3 billion in acquisitions. Okay, cool. So yes, they are spending a lot of money, but can they afford it? And that's the main issue here. So what you do is you look at the net cash provided by operations. 63 million, 83 million. So this is the money here that they actually have from their operations, from operating the business to buy stuff with. And they're buying stuff, okay, that is in the billions. So the point is, can they afford that? And my opinion is this is a huge red flag because looking at how much money they have from their operations per year does not justify spending that sort of money. Here's the point. Let me compare it to Tesla to illustrate this. If you look at Tesla, you look at their income statement, look at their revenues going up, right? Look at the net income, okay? And here's what I want to show you. Look at their net income for the years up until 2019. It was negative, okay? Negative net income, right? Because they were growing. So how do we tell the difference between a Tesla and a GTT? You go to the cash flow statement and you look at here, net cash provided, negative net cash, negative net cash. They're using a lot of money. They're using a lot of money for investment. So up until here, Tesla's kind of risky. And guess what? It's reflected in their stock price, right? Up until here, Tesla's kind of risky. But look at what happens, okay, in 2018. Okay, there's now we can see that there's a purpose to invest. They're starting to have a lot of money to spend, okay, and they can sort of start paying for these things, okay. So what happens to their stock price? And here's the point: if at the end of 2018 you saw this, you can say, okay, it looks like Tesla is starting to materialize. Their thesis is starting to make sense. Maybe it's worth investment. And if you look at the end of 2018 here, this is 2019. If you bought it for $40 a share, I mean, we know what happened after that, right? It would have made sense. But GTT does not make sense. So to sort of explain this in a nutshell, this is the amount of money they are left with in their bank account after operating their business. This is the type of expenditures that they are taking part in. This is way too expensive and way too risky. This is clearly a company that is over leveraged. This is management that is not using leverage smartly. This is management that is using too much leverage, and there's a lot of risk. The risk here is very high, okay? Because if they do not perform as expected, how are they going to pay this? That's very scary, okay? And it, and so we see that recent news, February 18th, there are reports that they're going to file for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, and that is that would have been very obvious by taking a look at this. Okay, now where does GTT lie now? So GTT Communications, if you look at the daily, so in the past week, once that information came out, it dropped another 50%, right? Another 50%. And part of that is there's a lot of things going wrong here with GTT. Part of that is also that there was information released. That they have either underreported losses in these years or overrepresented income. That's terrible. And finally, the other thing that is of most concern is they stopped filing their finance statements. Okay, they stopped filing their quarterly statements, and so they're in trouble with the SEC as well and the stock exchanges who may delist them. So what does this mean? In the end, there is still a value to this company. It's just one of those very high risk scenarios where uh, you may lose everything, and the risk is not asymmetrical in our favor. In my opinion, this is my opinion. The problem is the risk here is we do not even know how to we don't even know how to value this company because this data here is in question. It's probably much worse, and even when it's not worse, even with the provided data, it's pretty bad. Uh, it's it's pretty bad even with the data that is provided, and so and that's of course makes sense in the depressed stock price. Now, having said that, if they were to get their affairs in order, file for bankruptcy, reemerge in a smart fashion, and get rid of, pare down their debts, cannibalize themselves, pay off a lot of their debts, get to a profitable position, and start making money. This sort of thing can occur. The issue is there's a lot of ifs. Okay, there's a lot of ifs here. And in my opinion, the biggest problem is management. And you can go read about them a bit. But management that, whoops, that's Tesla. Management that does something, debt is not bad if it's done intelligently. But management that does this, okay, that does this, it's very, very irresponsible in my opinion. And this was a giant acquisition that did not have a desirable effect. What's the purpose of that? So, in my opinion, this is a big bet that I'm not willing to take, and I would rather pass on this one if I was looking to invest. Hope this information was helpful. Have a good one.